Alrighty, well I'm going to talk a little bit about sales development, sales training, and the whole purpose of this, as you're probably watching this on video or on the computer, is that you're here at DXP or one of the companies that DXP is acquiring, and you're wondering how does your role fit into this ginormous company, whether you're at a large branch or a small branch, whether you're a veteran of the industry or you're just starting out in this game called sales. DXP has put some sales training together for you, and the first thing to talk about is the whole idea of getting the most from the resources that you have. DXP is a huge company. We've got pockets of information all over the United States, and the idea in the industrial distribution game is to get the most from the resources that you have. We've got a lot of resources. We've got at least 4 or 5, maybe 600 years of information if you collectively look at all the tenure within DXP. How do you tap into that information when a customer is asking you a question? So the things that I want to talk about today are just 3 things. I really want to address 3 things. Now, this is probably a primer to your sales career at DXP. It could be something for the veteran who is a veteran in the industry and you found it better to join DXP than where you currently were, or you were acquired by DXP and now you're wondering how do you get all the resources together that you once had. The 3 things I really want to talk about is the idea of sales excellence, conceptual selling, and then what is your competitive advantage, or in your region, at your branch, or within your car, what is your competitive advantage? And we go forward with that one. Talk a little bit about what is sales excellence. You see, DXP as a culture is that we are all about excellence. We're about excellence from a sales perspective because as a distributor, we don't necessarily manufacture anything, we actually sell other people's products. And so where we have to be excellent is in the game of sales from the beginning and the middle to the end. And through that, we're asking our operational side of the house to have excellence as well. In fact, as you'll see at DXP, operational excellence is where it all started. We started a culture, we started a movement, we started a revolution within DXP on operational excellence. In fact, we've actually contracted out experts within the Texas A&M system, and periodically throughout the years, we move a lot of people to an operational excellence class at the university up there in College Station because we started with operational excellence and now we're moving to sales excellence. If you Google sales excellence, what you'll find is there's 8.7 million hits on what this idea is of sales excellence. And we've defined it a certain way, but we're asking you who are watching and participating and listening to this that we want you to define it as well. We want you to complement your sales excellence with our overarching ideas of sales excellence so that we can become the dominant force not only on a national scale but in a local scale as well. Sales excellence isn't necessarily about meeting the spec, it's truly about setting the spec. Granted, we're not manufacturing things, but we are setting the spec or setting the standard, setting the level playing field above where it currently is. Whereas most of our competition sell a certain way, we're going to sell a different way. Where maybe the competition's going down the left-hand side, we're going to go down the right-hand side because we can, because we're worth it. The other thing about setting the sales excellence spec is it's what is defined by what the customer sees as the quality right at this minute and tomorrow. And if you're good, you'll meet that expectation again and again and again. You see, we are customer driven. You'll hear a lot about that as a philosophical statement here, but it's more than just a philosophical statement. It's actually part of our lifeblood, is that we truly are a customer driven company. And so we've got to understand what the customer wants. And we want to set a standard and set a spec so that we can meet and exceed those customer expectations almost to the point of where we're anticipating what the customer's needs might be and then going ahead and meeting that. The surefire way to achieve this excellence factor is not to create the written spec and match it. The surefire way is to be human, to be artistic, and to make that connection with the customer and somehow change them for the better. Again, it goes part of that customer and it goes part of that connection. We're not a catalog house. We're not the Grangers of the world, the Fastenals and the MSCs. We're not going to have this incredible website where people can just go ahead and buy simplistic products. We are experts at what we do. We're technical in our nature. And so when we're looking at what we do, we take it to a different level. Whereas some people can go to a certain page on a certain catalog or to a certain page in a certain website, press a button and have it delivered, they might not know anything behind what they just bought. Call DXP, you'll get the expertise behind what you just bought. You'll get the ability to compare, to contrast, to look at different alternatives, whereas that's not what the competition is driving for. That's why we're called the experts. Now understand that what we've done is we've actually asked some of our 200 plus salespeople about their definition of sales excellence, and this is what they've said. Sales excellence is going above and beyond what is required or expected. We know that we do that, whether it's in Houston or Louisiana, in Omaha and Colorado, whether it's on the East Coast, Central, West Coast, we are absolutely going above and beyond what's required or expected. It's making our word solid as gold and always following through with what is promised or stated. Now we understand that we're only one side of the equation in sales, and that our partners in operations, that's the other side of sales. But what we have to do is we've got to make sure that our word is solid as gold and always following through to get that connection. Sales excellence is when a sales rep, when a sales professional can create that relationship, not as someone who can source your product, but someone you want to source your product from. And again, as you're looking at your career at DXP and you're talking to people who have been with the company 15, 18, 22, 27 years, you've got to ask yourself the question, what would cause a human being, an individual, to stay at a company that long? With all the drama, with all the turnover in the industry, with all the cycles, with all the economic booms and busts, what would cause a person, especially in a sales capacity, to stay in a company like that? It's because of the glue that holds us together from our sales excellence, from our desire. There's something about a family atmosphere at DXP, regardless on how large we grow, that causes people to stay. It's fascinating. Another one of the peers in sales said, hey, sales excellence is about knowing the products, the limitations, the customers, and their processes, and using that knowledge to create that beneficial, profitable relationship. The beneficial and profitable relationship. You see, part of what we do at DXP is we make a profit. Now, we understand that you might be watching, or you might be hearing this, or you might be experiencing different kinds of products that DXP can sell in different marketplaces. And some products have a high profit margin and some have a low profit margin. And what we do is we play the game to figure out what is the most we can get based on the expertise that we can deliver that still makes sense within the market. And so we do that by crafting our sales excellence, by knowing our product, by knowing our customers, by knowing their business. It's that relationship between all concerned and maintaining an entrepreneurial and positive attitude, even in the face of adversity. If you're new at DXP, whether brand new out of college or if you're actually someone who has been in the industry, it might frighten you that I've just used the word entrepreneurial. You might be thinking you want to be like that manufacturer where the same thing happens over and over every day and there's nothing that's always going to change. Not going to happen at DXP. In fact, from the very top of our company, through our senior management ranks, to the middle management ranks, all the way to the branches, we have a lifeblood of entrepreneurialism. Can-do spirit. If you've got an idea that you want to do, you're probably going to get the opportunity to exercise that and make that happen. We haven't grown the way we've grown because we've sat around and waiting for things to happen. We make things happen. Entrepreneurs make things happen. Granted, entrepreneurs have a risk threshold that's a whole lot higher than other people because we want to take a risk. We want to try things new. We want to expand into markets that haven't been expanded into. We want to move where the market is going, not wait for the market to get there and then act or react on that one. So welcome to that new set of DXP standards. Another person said most of us strive for sales excellence on a daily basis. Just read that for a second and understand that what I just read or what I just said was that we strive for it on a daily basis. It's not a quarterly basis. It's not a one-year ginormous management review meeting. We strive for it on a daily basis. Some of the comments that I believe help define sales excellence is that we have a customer-first focus. Customer comes first. In fact, in Houston, Texas, we have a division, we have a department, we have a movement, if you will, called the Customer First Center, the CFC. Why? Because the customer comes first. We want to listen rather than talk. That requires a sales professional to ask more questions than to spit forth facts and figures. And that's an art in itself. And at DXP, there's a culture of asking questions because a lot of what we do comes from an engineering background, and engineers tend to want to make sure that things are right. And in order for you to make sure things are right, you have to ask questions. You've got to understand customers' business and processes, not only the office, but the process equipment. Understand that at DXP it's different than other places because we're seeking to understand the customer's business. For the people who report to me and who work for me who are new to the company or new to the idea of sales, I always tell them, please ask all about the customer's business and fall in love with what they do in a business environment. Because the more you learn about what they do, even though you've heard it 15, 16, 22 times before, it's still exciting. And so when they ask you, hey, do you want to take a tour? You say yes. The reason you want to do that is you might have seen 100 warehouses and 22 different manufacturing plants, but this is going to be fascinating to you because you want to understand how they do business. You want to understand that they do their processes a little bit different. And as you talk to the other senior sales professionals within DXP, they are trained to look all over places, to find packages, to find product, things that we can do, things that we can sell, things that we can fabricate, things that we can consult on, services, products, things that we can do. And so that's one of the beauties of DXP is that we're not just limited to a small group, we've got a lot we can look at. We are being prepared to sell the solutions-based value propositions. Again, we're talking about solutions and not so much product, and to meet frequently with customers. Great salespeople at DXP, when asked what sales excellence is to them, is the ability to meet frequently with customers. You might have a customer for 10, 15 years. You continue to meet with them because not everyone within the organization knows everything about DXP. And our ability to identify the opportunities, to qualify the opportunities, and then to educate those customers. Identify the new opportunities that we have, help qualify them that what we have is something that they might need, and then to continue the education relationship with each of the customers that we have. And the number 6 is just to be easily accessible. DXP, as a sales organization, has spent tremendous amounts, millions of dollars in technology so that we can become accessible to our customers, whether it's through email-based phone systems, whether it's through quote alerts that come to people's phones, whether it's through an inside-outside sales relationship, whether it's through a rollover process where the local branch then rolls over to the Customer First Center in Houston. We want to be easily accessible in all that we do. And the beauty of that is when a customer has a problem, they can come to DXP and we can fix it pronto, rather than waiting, rather than hiding behind voicemail, rather than hiding behind email. We have the ability, we have the desire, we have the entrepreneurial mindset to be accessible 24/7, which gives us what we call the sales excellence or the competitive edge. Customer-driven connections starts with the customer. And what we mean by that is that it isn't our research people in yellow lab coats or white lab coats that create things. We don't have that luxury. All we can do is grow our customer base, whether we take our current customer base and expand the products and services inside there, or whether we go out there and find net new customers. We do that through 3 divisions. We call it the Innovative Pumping Solutions Group, otherwise known as IPS. Scattered throughout the United States, but primarily located in Houston, Texas, the Innovative Pumping Solution Group basically focuses on rotating equipment and fabrication. The H-pump line that we have and some of the other new things that are coming in the future are originated and promoted through Innovative Pumping Solutions, or IPS. Again, I go back to this entrepreneurial spirit on the things that we do. The second division is the service centers. The service center is about 140 plus service centers around the United States, local access inventory, local inside sales, local technical support, the ability to go out and to look at all the markets that we can serve and cover and touch them professionally and with expertise. And the last is what we call the supply chain services. Supply chain services being that group of people who are out looking at large companies like Coca-Cola, like Halliburton, where they're looking for a supply chain solution, where they're outsourcing their level of expertise in their ability to source components and allow DXP to do that on behalf of them, driving the cost down, creating efficiency models, reducing vendor counts, reducing vendor demands, increasing the ability to have the right product at the right time at the right price. And so how do we do that? Well, as a customer-driven connector, if you will, and that we're connecting customers to 3 of these massive resources, we do that through regional distribution centers. Whether it's in the Atlanta region or the Houston region, the Omaha region, we've got regional distribution centers, very large, having the ability to stock more product and deliver that product in the hands of our customers. We do that through a division called rotating equipment, where our customers can see DXP as a very large entity and yet having expertise within rotating equipment. And so whether it's a centrifugal pump or a gear pump or an air pump, whether it's a plunger pump, whether it's some kind of a submersible pump, depending upon the different vendors within those territories, we have the ability to deliver a solution set or a product set within rotating equipment. Bearing and power transmission. Another opportunity that we have which is focused toward that niche industry. If you're on the East Coast and you're looking at some of the manufacturing go on there, if you're in the middle of the country and you're looking for some of the food services, the agricultural business, maybe something of that nature, that's where the bearing and power transmission expertise comes into play. If you're coming to the Houston area, maybe it's the downhole drilling tool and the whole oil and gas market. But our ability to drive to our customer a solution set which is laser focused and entrepreneurial in rotating equipment or in bearing and power transmission is what sets DXP apart from each and every company out there. Just these 2 divisions alone separate us from some of the major players within the industry because they don't cross between the 2. Let's add to that one the industrial supplies. Birthing out of the supply chain services were all those commodities and then now moving through to our regional service centers. The ability to take all of our industrial supplies, in addition to the fluid handling, in addition to power transmission, we have all these other things that we can offer our customers. To the customer at this point, they see DXP as truly a one-stop shop. The ability to make one phone call, the ability to have a purchase order that has multiple lines on there from multiple divisions, and our ability to deliver that solution set right to the customer. Safety Services Division, whether it's safety product, which is in the personal protection, or safety services out there in the field using human resources, using expertise out there to make sure that we're OSHA compliant and that we're safety compliant. Again, another arm. When you start combining these 4 divisions, rotating equipment, bearing and power transmission, industrial supply, and safety, there is not another distributor that is out there competing who can say that they have this solution set. DXP is unique. DXP is the only one who can do that. So as your career at DXP expands, regardless on your geography, you can tap into all 4 of these expertise divisions as well as the people behind those divisions and have that fulfilled through the regional distribution centers. And the last one is the Customer First Center. Birthed, created, originated, entrepreneurially focused, if you will, in the Houston area. This is an area, this is a 1-800 number. This is a resource for you in the sales division within DXP where you can have yourself or your customers get to the Customer First Center and have the ability to get all of your questions answered as it relates to all of these various lines of expertise: rotating equipment, bearing and power transmission, industrial supply, safety. We can add welding supplies. We can add hose, whether it's industrial hose or other. We've got that expertise. Sets us apart again from some of the other competitors out there who might not be able to tap into that rich resource. Not only is it rich in depth, but it's also rich in breadth as well. We've got lots of people within there, a constant source of training, as well as the depth of having years and years of experience. So as you start your career or you enhance your career at DXP, tap into some of these resources. The theme is resource utilization, the connectors, if you will, that brings us all together. So that sales excellence overview is how can you as a sales professional at DXP, as well as your management within your branch, within your region, within your niche, if you will, how can you do that? How can you create that? Well, you create that not by meeting that spec, but by setting that spec. And so the customer sees it in all 3 of the divisions, in all the different departments. They see a spec of sales excellence that's created. And because we in sales are the pointy edge of the spear, if you will, we then bring the whole company into focus. We bring the operations, we bring accounting, we bring inventory management and procurement, we bring the warehouses, we bring all that to the table, because if basically the cliche is true, nothing happens until somebody sells something. And that's what we do. We sell things at DXP and we bring all these other resources in there. And we then complement that with the operational excellence, and before you know it, you as a DXP employee in the sales game, you have a story to tell that is untellable by any of your competition. To that extent, today and beyond, where are we going? Well, we're migrating from that knowing of the product to knowing their business. You see, to your competitive edge, our sales excellence advantage at DXP, yes, we're experts. But we're experts beyond just the product. Now we're experts in knowing their business. Business is getting complicated. You need to know their business. Does that mean you need to know the entire upstream, midstream, and downstream of the oil and gas market? Not all of it, but you should be pretty well familiar with it. Does that mean you need to know everything about the original equipment manufacturing of some of the tools that go in there to extract the gas and the oil? You need to be more than just a little familiar with it if that's what you're doing. If you're on the East Coast and you're looking at manufacturing, you need to understand that. You need to understand that if you're just working with small machine shops, understand the challenges and the dilemmas and the plights and the opportunities that they have, so that when you talk to a customer, you're not just a human catalog. You're an expert at what you do. The goal here is that we want to sell DXP as a service and not a product. You see, when you sell DXP as a service, there's higher margins to that. When you sell it as a product, then we become a me too. And I don't think any of us want to be a me too salesperson. Oh, you're just like my fill in the blank rep. No, I'm not anything like your fill in the blank rep. Well, you're just like my rep that sells me the same stuff. No, I'm not anything like the person who comes in here trying to sell you that stuff. As soon as you start equating yourself with that person and you're on that me too level, we've lost our competitive advantage. We've lost our entrepreneurship, we lost our sales excellence. And so our goal is to look at DXP as truly a service. Now maybe you're saying, well, the only service I can provide is selling a product. That might be true. But we do it in a way that sales excellence can come through. Well, who's DXP? Let me break down this slide for the people who are watching this. Yes, it says that we're experts in customer-driven MROP solutions, but I like to work backwards and forwards both at the same time here. Yes, we're experts. We're not amateurs. We're not guessing. We don't show up at our customer site saying, gee, I really don't know. I'll just wing it. It's not what we do. We've been around since 1908. Our customers expect us to know a little bit more than the competition, so we're experts. We're also solution-driven, not product deliverance. So we're experts at customer-driven MROP solutions, which defines exactly who you are at DXP. Yes, you're experts. We're focused on customer-driven solutions, not what you're trying to sell them because you've got an overstock in your warehouse. We've defined it as maintenance, repair, operations, and production, so we know what those four letters are within MROP so that the customers that we articulate to understand it's either maintenance or repair or operations or production, and we truly are a services-driven company. And so that alone, that little tagline alone should set you apart in your career at DXP from everybody else. Knowing that in order for you to be an expert, you're going to have to study. You're going to have to read, network, learn, ask questions. Because the competition is tough out there and we need to be tougher. We're not amateurs, we're experts. And so we expect everybody to learn that and to work hard on that one. We expect us to be customer driven, so we want to fall in love with what our customers have, and then we want to be a solution set.